Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to the Hindu newspaper Analysis Townhall. Today is 27th of September and we are going to cover the following articles from the Hindu newspaper. First one, Ladakh Protest, where the 𝐻𝐭𝐚 𝐤𝐽𝐽 has been arrested under NSA. So here we will see what are the various demands of the protest. Second, yes, Trump has slapped 100% tariff on the pharmaceutical products. Here we will see how it is going to impact Indian pharmaceutical sector. But the impact is going to be very less on India, and the reasons we are going to have a look at. AFSPA has been extended in some states of the northeastern states. Here we will see about what is AFSPA and what are its various provisions. Upgrading shipyards. Government has announced a project or say package of more than 60,000 crore rupees to build the shipyard industry in India. But why is the industry is not picking up? We will look at various reasons. Then various state governments like Kerala, Telangana, they have basically blamed central government for not discussing GST compensation in the new reforms, where they claim that majority of the revenue is being appropriated by the central government, but the expenditure is being borne by the state governments. Okay, so let's start. Yes. What is the issue? When did the issue start? Basically, 2019 May, after the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act, Jammu and Kashmir was made union territory with legislature. Okay. But Ladakh was UT without any state legislature. So now a protest has erupted in Ladakh with various demands. And it is being led by various groups. One of the group is Leh Apex Body. Okay, another group is Ladakh Buddhist Association, and one of the leaders is also 𝐻𝐭𝐚 𝐤𝐽𝐽. Okay, so what are the various demands? First one, statehood. Protesters are demanding Ladakh को पूरा full statehood grant किया जाए, because before that Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh was a state. But after the reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh was made union territory without any legislature. They also want a democratically elected government so that they can have more control over the local affairs. Second, as the 90% of the population of Ladakh region is tribes, scheduled tribe population, so they demand that they should be included in the 6th schedule. What happens जब 6th schedule में add हो जाते हैं? So basically what happens is you get more autonomy, more authority to regulate the local matters, and also it will allow them to form autonomous district council where they have the right to govern land, forest and other local matters. One more demand is job reservation. They are demanding that the local jobs should be reserved for the locals, and there should be a separate Ladakh Public Service Commission. Also, they are demanding more political representation. How political representation can be increased? By giving more parliamentary seats. So they are demanding 2 separate seats, parliamentary seats for Leh and Kargil, and also Rajya Sabha seat to ensure so that their voices are heard at the national level. Now, one more thing we need to look at is 𝐻𝐭𝐚 𝐤𝐽𝐽 has been arrested under the National Securities Act. What is this? National Security Act is basically a preventive detention law. Preventive detention law. Under this, police or the government can arrest anybody which the government thinks is a threat to the national security. Okay, and these persons who are arrested, it allowed the government or the police to keep them in jail. Okay, they have very less legal rights also, and without trial they can be put in jail. These are the preventive detention laws. Okay, so this is the Ladakh issue, and these are the various demands of the Ladakh issue. Now let's move on to the next article. Yes, Trump has slapped tariff on drugs, that is pharmaceutical, trucks and furniture. For India, the sector which is going to get impacted, or is expected to get impacted, is the pharmaceutical sector. Okay, trucks is basically done by the Trump to counter the import of the duty trucks from Mexico, Canada, Japan and Germany. Okay, 100% tariff has been imposed on branded, this is the key term, or patented pharmaceutical products. Branded and patented pharmaceutical products. वो भी कब? Unless the firm is building a plant in US. अगर still देखो जो पेटेंटेड या फिर ब्रांडेड नहीं है उस पर 100% नहीं लगेगा. एंड इवन इफ इट इज ब्रांडेड और पेटेंटेड but the firm is planning to build the drugs in the US, then they will also be exempted from the tariff. Okay, so what is going to be the impact on India? Immediate impact on of the US tariff on pharma exports is unlikely. Why? Because the bulk of the exports of Indian pharmaceutical is of generic medicines. Okay, and these are not under the 100% 100% tariffs. Okay, and also the large companies, large Indian companies, they already operate in the US. Either they manufacture there or repackage there. So it is very less likely to impact the Indian pharmaceutical sector. US का जो शेयर है इंडियाज एक्सपोर्ट फार्मास्यूटिकल सेक्टर इज ह्यूज. इंडिया टोटल एक्सपोर्ट जो करता है फार्मास्यूटिकल सेक्टर is 30,000 crore rupees. Okay, export to the US accounted for 34.5%. Out of this 34.5% we export only to the US, and it amounts to $10.5 billion. Last year it was $8.7 billion, but 2025 it is $10.5 billion. So the export of Indian pharmaceutical to the US has been on increasing trend. As of now, the impact is not going to be there, but we cannot deny because there can be changes in the tariff. Okay, so the impact has been seen on the market. The Nifty Pharma, it was down 2% after the order of the 100% tariff came. This tariff war is expected to impact more than 1 million jobs in India. Latest report. But India is now engaging with US for a trade agreement. And in the recent trade deals, I think one of the component which is going to be there is purchase of oil from the US. We'll see how the trade agreement will be finalized. US is expected to collect $300 billion by end of the year in the tariff. Next article, AFSPA. AFSPA has been extended. What is AFSPA? Armed Forces Special Powers Act. It has been extended in the parts of Manipur, Arunachal and Nagaland for 6 months. What does it mean? Indian Home Ministry does it. What is AFSPA? AFSPA basically special act hai which gives extraordinary power to the armed forces. अब जो डिस्टर्ब रीजन्स हैं नॉर्थ ईस्ट के फॉर एग्जांपल, वहां पर armed forces have to operate. Now, in order to counter the insurgents, the armed forces have been given some extraordinary power. What are those powers? First of all, declaration of disturbed area. Any area, first of all, has to be declared as disturbed by the central or the state government. When area is declared as disturbed area, then the government can impose the AFSPA in that region. Okay, basically it is done to counter the insurgency, terrorist activities, or the communal disharmony in a region. What are the special powers under this? First of all, security forces can use force. They can arrest individuals without a warrant or even shoot to kill if they deem it necessary for maintaining public order. Yes, you have the right to shoot. Forces can also search the premises without a warrant and also seize the property. The act provides legal immunity to armed forces personnel. Prosecution से immunity है. If you shoot to kill, you will not be prosecuted. You have the immunity unless the central government grants the sanction, which usually never happens. Okay. Also, what is the duration? Duration जो declare जैसे extended for 6 months until the revocation is done for the declaration. AFSPA continues to operate. So AFSPA has basically been criticized also in the past for being very, these are the powers without any restriction. And our constitution always talks about restriction, reasonable restriction. No checks and balances there. No institutional oversight. Okay. In the past, there have been certain accusations of false killings also, but the government justifies it on account of maintaining the law and order in the region. So this is about the AFSPA. Upgrading shipyards. इसका context ये है, government has announced a package of 69,725 crore rupees to revitalize India's shipbuilding and maritime ecosystem. इस पैकेज का क्या एम है? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, पहली बात तो आत्मनिर्भर भारत. अब एक्सपोर्ट टैरिफ के बाद तो वी रियलाइज दैट वी हैव टू बी रियली आत्मनिर्भर. Second, it will lead to economic growth and job creation. 3 million jobs are expected to be generated. Strategic importance is also there because strong domestic shipbuilding industry is very vital for the national security, especially when you have to build warships and submarines. If you want submarines and you are importing it, there your strategy, there your autonomy is compromised. Okay. अब द आर्टिकल बेसिकली डिस्कसेस अबाउट कि पहले 2015 की भी एक पॉलिसी थी विच विल एक्सपायर इन मार्च 2026. उसमें भी फाइनेंशियल इंसेंटिव्स थे. इट फेल्ड, द पॉलिसी फेल्ड. सो व्हाट विल हैपन इन दिस न्यू पॉलिसी? 70,000 crore ऑलमोस्ट. ओके, सो द प्लान इज टू अपग्रेड फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल शिपयार्ड फॉर कटिंग एज टेक्नोलॉजी एंड मैनेजमेंट प्रिंसिपल. पहले तो यार्ड्स को डेवलप करना है कटिंग एज टेक्नोलॉजी के लिए. उसके बाद नए यार्ड्स बनाने हैं जहां पर इन हाउस फैक्ट्रीज होंगी शिप बिल्ड के लिए. ऑल्सो फाइनेंशियल उनको सपोर्ट देना है जो शिप बिल्डर्स हैं. दीज आर द कंपोनेंट्स, राइट. व्हाट हैपेंस इन कोरिया एंड जापान? बेसिकली इंडिया का शिप बिल्डिंग इंडस्ट्री इफ यू सी तो बहुत पीछे है. वो लोग क्या करते हैं, वो जो कंपोनेंट्स हैं बेसिकली, मान लो शिप के कंपोनेंट्स हैं, ये शिप है, इसके अलग अलग कंपोनेंट्स हैं, ये अलग अलग कंपोनेंट्स को बाहर से बना के लाते हैं. प्री फैब्रिकेटेड होते हैं आउटसाइड द एक्चुअल ड्राई डॉक. बाहर से ही अलग से बना के लाते हैं और अंदर आके फिर वो क्या कर देते हैं, दे वेल्ड इट टुगेदर बाय यूजिंग द बिग क्रेन्स. ये ऐसा लिए कर पाते हैं बिकॉज इनके जो यार्ड्स हैं दे आर बिग इन साइज, दे यूज द लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी, दैट इज वाई दे आर एबल टू डू इट. बट इंडिया में दिक्कत क्या क्या है? इंडिया फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो हाई कॉस्ट एंड डिलेज है. ओके, ग्लोबल कंपटीशन बहुत है, वेट टाइम बहुत है, डिलीवरी ही नहीं होती है प्रोडक्ट्स की. ओके, सेकंड आउटडेटेड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, लार्ज क्रेन्स नहीं है, उनके लिए स्पेस भी नहीं है. अगेन कंपटीशन, वी हैव रेड दिस कोरियन, जापानीज और चाइनीज यार्ड्स, दे ह्यूज कंपटीशन फॉर इंडियन. ओके, दे आर हाईली एफिशिएंट, दे ऑपरेट इन लार्ज स्केल ऑपरेशन एंड स्ट्रॉन्ग गवर्नमेंट सपोर्ट. डोमेस्टिक डिमांड की कमी है इंडिया में. सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज इफ आई वांट अ शिप, instead of acquiring it domestically, I will import it because it is cheaper and faster. Two things, low cost पे मिलेगी if I purchase it from outside और faster delivery होगी. अपने यहाँ चलता रहता. It takes years, 2 to 3 years का टर्न अराउंड है, जबकि कोरिया, जापानीज और चाइना में they do it in less than 1 year. So these are the various issues with the shipbuilding and this package, the aim. So we'll see how this package is going to help in building the shipbuilding industry in India. Basically, China, what they do, train manpower also, lower interest rate पे देते हैं, big spaces हैं, prefabricated है. मतलब पूरा एक ecosystem बनाना पड़ता है एक चीज के लिए, develop करने के लिए. If the ecosystem is not there, if you are working silos, you just keep on doing administrative work. You keep on just making them and it will take around 2 to 3 years in India. This is the norm in India. And उसकी वजह से कैपिटल संक हो जाती है विदाउट रिटर्न. इतने टाइम आपकी जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है ये लग गई, देयर इज नो इंटरेस्ट, नो प्रॉफिट, नो रिटर्न. ओके, सो दीज आर द वेरियस इश्यूज विद द शिप बिल्डिंग इंडस्ट्री इन इंडिया. लास्ट टॉपिक फॉर टुडे. यस, अभी तेलंगाना चीफ मिनिस्टर हैज टॉक्ड अबाउट जीएसटी रिफॉर्म्स इन डिटेल वेयर वेरियस इश्यूज वर हाईलाइटेड. पहले जो जीएसटी था अपना, उसमें क्या था, when it came in 2017 it was expected कि शायद states का revenue, मान लो if there is a loss, so it is expected that states revenue should increase by 14% every year. On basis of that, if there is a shortfall in the revenue, they will be compensated by compensation cess. Abhi it has been extended till 2026. After 2026, what is going to be there? No discussions has been there. Even in the meeting of the GST reform, GST Council meeting, it was not discussed. So here, the basic discussion of the article revolves around what is the revenue of the state, what is the revenue of the center, and how much expenditure has to be borne by state and center. Okay. After GST, the state says that their dependence has increased on the central government. Why? Because independently they cannot impose tax. First of all, tax नहीं impose कर सकते. Second, GST basically goes to the center and then it comes to the states. IGST also. Okay. So they have become dependent on the central government. Also, the 14% increase which was expected to be there, state says it should be 14 to 18%, but in reality, it came around 7 to 8% only. In these 5 years, that is before 2025, they got their tax revenue increased by only 7 to 8%. Second thing is, bulk of the expenditure is borne by the state governments. As per him, the 15th Finance Commission report says 64% of the total expenditure of the entire government is borne by state government. One is expenditure, one is revenue. 64% कौन करता है? स्टेट्स. बट रेवेन्यू का 63 से 64% कौन लेता है? सेंटर. जो दिस इज द डिस्पैरिटी. रेवेन्यू सेंटर ले रहा है और एक्सपेंडिचर स्टेट्स कर रहे हैं. ऑल्सो सेस. अब फाइनेंस कमीशन की अकॉर्डिंग क्या है? 41% शुड गो टू द स्टेट्स. बट दिस 41% ऑफ डिविजिबल पूल, मतलब जो डिवाइड होगा सेंटर एंड स्टेट के बीच में, बट जो सेस इंपोज किए जाते हैं सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट द्वारा, दैट डू नॉट मेक पार्ट ऑफ द डिविजिबल पूल. सो द फाइनल which is coming to the states is around 30 to 32%. Okay, so these are the various issues highlighted. First of all, share in revenue is less. Expenditure is high of the states. Cess issue is there. Compensation issue is there. Okay, so these are the various issues which the state government highlighted. So this is it for today. I am attaching the notes in the comment box and also the description box. If you have any query, you can ask in the comment box. Now I'll see you on Monday. Till then, good luck. Goodbye. Thank you.